Lesson 1. Curate your information diet. Jake would grab his phone the moment he woke up every morning. After turning off his alarm, his plan was to just scroll through social media for 5 minutes. But he never noticed when those 5 minutes turned into 45. Someone's new phone, someone's trip to Europe, someone's body transformation, someone's luxury car, someone's success story. They kept coming one after another on his screen. By the time he put his phone down, his mind felt more tired than before. The strange thing was that he hadn't started a single task for the day yet. But his energy was already gone. He thought maybe something was wrong with him. But the real problem wasn't inside him. The problem was that every morning he was feeding his mind content that was making him weaker. We all think a lot about food. If someone eats junk food every day, we immediately understand that their health could suffer. But very few people think about the fact that our mind also eats something every day. The only difference is that the stomach eats food and the brain eats information. The things you watch, the conversations you listen to, the videos you spend time on, and the people whose posts you read every day. These things slowly shape the way you think. If your entire day is surrounded by complaints, fear, gossip, and comparison, your mind will start becoming exactly that. Then, no matter how good a book you read, its effect won't last long. Think about a little kid going to school for the first time. If the whole class has constant fights, the teacher doesn't pay attention, and kids just make fun of each other, then after a few months, that kid will start learning the same behavior. He didn't learn it from anyone directly. He just watched it every day. Our mind works exactly the same way. It keeps recording everything. It doesn't care whether the information is good or bad. Whatever shows up most often slowly starts to feel normal. Now think about a different situation. Suppose you go to a mall and one store has loud music blasting. Another store has people yelling. A third store has someone getting into an argument. After a while, your head will start feeling heavy. Now that same day, if you walk into a quiet library where people are reading, there's no noise and there's a learning atmosphere all around. Without even trying, your mind will feel calm. Just changing the place changed the feeling. The same thing applies to the digital world. Your Instagram feed is also a place. Your YouTube homepage is also a place. Twitter's timeline is also a place. The question is, which place do you spend the most time in every day? A lot of people say social media is bad, but that's not the whole truth. Social media is a tool. That same tool can teach someone a business, and that same tool can ruin someone's entire day. The difference isn't the platform, the difference is in your feed. If your feed is full of funny clips, fake lifestyles, drama, and pointless debates, your mind will also move in that direction. But if that same feed is filled with skills, learning, health, money management, and real experiences, that same phone can become a partner in your growth. There was a guy who always felt like he had no talent. Every day he followed creators who only showed off their success. Every video made him feel like everyone else had moved way ahead of him. Slowly, he stopped trying new things altogether. One day his older brother picked up his phone and in just 10 minutes completely changed his entire feed. Accounts that only caused comparison were unfollowed. Pages that were only spreading negativity were muted. Then in their place, learning channels, career ideas, fitness, and book-related accounts were followed. The first few days, the new feed felt a little strange to him because there was less entertainment. But a few weeks later, he noticed that now new ideas came to his mind more often, and the habit of comparing himself to others had decreased. Our mind is not a camera that just takes pictures. It's like a garden. If you plant good seeds in a garden, plants will grow. If you just let weeds and garbage pile up, the whole garden will slowly get ruined. Information is just like seeds. Every video, every post, and every story leaves a small seed behind. In the beginning, its effect isn't visible. But a few months later, that same seed becomes a habit. Then that habit becomes a decision, and that decision starts changing the future. You may have noticed that if you constantly watch crime news, you start suspecting every person you see outside. If you watch success stories all day, sometimes your own life starts to feel worthless. If you spend all day watching memes, starting serious work starts to feel difficult. This doesn't mean all these things are always wrong. The problem starts when one kind of information takes over your entire mind. Now ask yourself one simple question. If a stranger came to your house every day and without asking left random stuff behind and walked away, would you let them do that? Probably not. But inside your phone, thousands of people are putting their thoughts into your mind every single day. You don't even know most of them. Yet their influence is affecting the way you think. So letting information come in without checking it isn't smart. This is exactly where the idea of an information diet comes in. Just like we carefully choose food in a healthy diet, if you enjoy our free summaries, you can subscribe to our channel Arise Reads, become a member, or support us through Venmo or PayPal. Now let's get back to the summary. In the same way, in an information diet, we have to choose content thoughtfully. You don't need to watch everything. You don't need to know every piece of news. You don't need to follow every trend. Your time is limited, and your mind's capacity is also limited. If it gets filled up with small useless things, the big and important ideas won't be able to find any room inside. The easiest practical way to do this is a digital purge. Purge means cleaning. Just like you clear out old broken stuff from your home to make space, you should do the same cleanup on your social media. Open Instagram today and go through each account one by one. Ask yourself, how do I feel after seeing this account? If the answer is that I feel small, my time gets wasted, or negativity comes into me, then unfollow or mute it. This isn't making enemies with anyone. This is protecting your mind. Then open YouTube. The videos that keep showing up on your homepage come there because of your old habits. The videos you no longer want to watch, don't just ignore them. Mark them as not interested. Slowly the algorithm will understand what you don't want. Then start searching and watching topics that are connected to your goals. Within a few days, the entire homepage will start changing. Now, every time you open your phone, you'll get new learning, not just a way to pass time. If you use Twitter or any other platform, the same rule applies there too. Not every account is necessary. Some people only spread anger. Some people argue about everything. Some people spread fear for no reason. If reading someone's posts repeatedly ruins your mood, muting them is absolutely the right decision. Your focus isn't to win some debate. It's to make your life better. One student made just one change. Instead of watching funny shorts before bed, he started watching 10 minutes of study tips and learning videos. In the beginning, he didn't notice any big difference. But after 1 month, he realized that starting to study had become easier than before, because his mind was receiving that signal every day that learning is important. Small changes don't always give small results. Sometimes those same small changes shift the entire direction. Your feed should be like a digital library. A library doesn't have every book. Only the things that grow knowledge are kept there. In the same way, not every type of content should be on your phone. Give space to what makes you stronger, smarter, and more productive. Push out what only grabs your attention but gives nothing back in return. Remember, your future won't just be determined by what you do. It will also be determined by what you watch every day, what you listen to, and what information you allow into your mind. Because action always comes from thought, and thought always comes from information. If the information changes, the thinking changes. If the thinking changes, the decisions change. If the decisions change, slowly the entire life starts changing too. This is why investing in your information diet is far more important than any expensive course, new gadget, or fancy setup. When your feed starts working for your growth, every time you pick up your phone, it won't just be a way to pass time. It will become a small investment you're making in your own future. Lesson 2. Schedule zero input time. Embrace boredom. Mike had a strange habit. The moment he got 2 free minutes, his hand would automatically reach for his phone. Waiting for the bus, waiting for food to cook, waiting for the elevator, or 5 minutes before falling asleep at night. Every single time. The screen was in front of him. He thought he was using his time wisely. After all, he was watching something. But slowly he noticed that now he couldn't even sit still without his phone. If the internet went out, he'd start feeling anxious, like something was missing. He never thought that the real problem wasn't the phone. It was his habit of filling every empty moment. In today's life, we're taught from childhood to always stay busy. Learn something, watch something, listen to something, do something. If someone is seen sitting quietly for even 5 minutes, people ask what's wrong. So slowly our mind also starts to believe that every empty space should be filled with some information. But have you ever thought, if you keep pouring water on a field all the time and never give it any rest, will the crop grow well or get ruined? Everything needs a little empty time to grow. This same rule applies to our mind. Think about a small room in your house. Every day someone keeps placing things inside it. An old chair, a broken box, old clothes, useless stuff. For months stuff just keeps coming, and there's never any cleanup. One day there won't even be room to walk in that room. Our mind is a lot like that. As soon as you wake up, news, then Instagram, then work talk, then YouTube, then texts, then music, then a web series. Information keeps pouring in, but there's no time to process and understand it. So the mind always feels full. One day, Mike went to his family's cabin upstate. The signal there was barely working. The first day he kept checking his phone over and over. The second day he cared a little less. On the evening of the third day, he was sitting at the edge of a field. There was a breeze. No music, no videos, no notifications. The first 10 minutes felt very strange. Then suddenly a solution to an old problem came to his mind that he had been thinking about for days. He was surprised. Why did this idea come now? The answer was simple. For the first time, his mind had been given space to actually think. Our brain isn't like a computer where you press a button and get an answer immediately. It often works slowly. When you're thinking about a difficult question and can't find the answer, it doesn't mean the mind has stopped working. Many times it keeps working on that problem quietly on the inside. But if during that same time you keep feeding it new videos, new reels, and new information, its focus keeps getting broken. This is why many good ideas come suddenly, while taking a shower, going for a walk, or sitting quietly. When a painter creates a new painting, they don't fill color into every single spot. They leave some space empty. That empty space gives the whole painting its balance. If the entire canvas is filled with color, nothing will be clearly visible. The mind is also a canvas like this. If you keep filling it with something new every minute, there's no chance for older thoughts to actually settle. You may have noticed that when you have a real heart-to-heart conversation with a friend, you feel a little lighter afterward. It doesn't happen because the problem suddenly disappeared. It happens because your mind got a chance to let what was inside come out. Now think, if you never sit quietly with yourself, who will your mind talk to? Many times we don't need another person. We just need a few minutes of silence. There was a little girl who loved drawing. But for the past few months, her new ideas had dried up. She started copying designs from the internet. Her teacher told her, "Today, don't draw anything for a full half hour. Don't watch any videos. Just sit in the playground and observe people." At first, she thought this was a waste of time. But the next day, she drew something she had never drawn before. Because this time, she hadn't copied anything. Her mind had created something new on its own. This is exactly why being bored isn't always bad. In reality, boredom is a signal that your mind can now shift from the outside world and start looking at the inner world. But the moment that signal comes, we immediately suppress it with our phone. The second we get 2 free minutes, reels. The result is that our mind never actually learns to think on its own. Now understand one more thing. If you're constantly listening to someone else's voice, hearing your own voice becomes difficult. The same thing happens with thoughts. Outside information becomes so much that the real feelings inside get buried. That's why many people can't even figure out what they actually want from life, because they've never practiced sitting with themselves. There was a guy who was very confused about his career. Every day he'd watch different videos. Someone said learn to code, someone said start a business, someone said a government job is the best. The more information that came in, the more the confusion grew. Finally, he decided that every evening he would sit for just 15 minutes on his rooftop without any device. The first week he only felt restless. The second week he started remembering his old interests. By the third week he started realizing that he had been ignoring his own preferences in favor of everyone else's advice. The answer wasn't outside. It was inside him. He just hadn't been given a chance to hear it. This is what zero input time means. It doesn't mean you need to become a meditation expert or learn some complicated technique. It simply means, for a few minutes, don't give your mind any new input. No phone, no music, no book, no podcast, no chat. Just sit. If you want, look out the window, look at trees, look at the sky, or just sit comfortably and rest. In the beginning, it will feel like time is moving very slowly. That feeling tells you that your mind has gotten used to always receiving something. The first few days, strange thoughts will come into your head. Sometimes old memories will come up, sometimes tomorrow's work will come to mind, sometimes an argument with someone will come back. Don't panic. These are the very things that had been piling up inside all along. When the noise outside stops, that's when the voice inside can finally be heard. If every time you cut this process short and pick up your phone, the mind will go right back to where it was before. A driver who keeps driving for hours without ever taking a break increases the chances of an accident. That's why stopping in between is also part of the journey. Our mind makes decisions all day long. What to eat, what to say, who to reply to, what to buy, what to learn. After so many decisions, it also needs a little rest. Zero input time is exactly that rest. It's not laziness. It's preparation for the next good decision. Now let's understand the practical way to do this. Choose any time in the day when you can get 15 minutes. Put your phone on silent and don't keep it near you. If the phone is in your pocket, the mind will keep going toward it. Sit in a chair, sit on your balcony, sit on the rooftop, or sit outside under a tree. Just remember one rule. In these 15 minutes, don't take in any new input. If an idea comes, just remember it. Don't pull out your phone and search for it immediately. After a few days, you'll notice that answers to small problems start coming faster. Ideas will start coming that you had never thought of before. You'll also start understanding your mood better. What's actually bothering you and what has just become a habit, that will start becoming clear. This isn't magic. It happens simply because for the first time your mind gets a chance to do its own work without being interrupted. Slowly you'll also start feeling that it's not necessary to fill every empty moment. You don't have to pull out your phone while waiting for the bus. You don't have to watch reels while standing in line. Sometimes just observing the world around you is enough. How a child is playing, how the wind is blowing, how people are talking. These small things also give the mind a new kind of understanding that no screen can provide. And the biggest thing is that zero input time reintroduces you to yourself. When the outside noise quiets down even for a little while, your mind slowly starts to clear. That same mind that felt busy all day suddenly starts to feel lighter. That's where new ideas come from. That's where easy solutions to difficult problems are found. And that's where the mental clarity comes from that people keep searching for in expensive courses, apps, and techniques. Many times the biggest change begins not by adding something new, but by removing everything for just a few minutes. Lesson 3. Engineer your environment using friction. Ryan made a decision on New Year's that he would wake up early every morning and study. He bought a new notebook. He made a big schedule in it and promised himself that life would completely change now. On the first day, he actually studied with full motivation. On the second day, he studied a little less. On the third day, he turned off his alarm and went back to sleep. A week later, his notebook was sitting there as clean as when he bought it, and the schedule only existed on paper. He thought maybe his willpower was weak, but the real reason was something else. His phone stayed on his pillow all night. His books were locked inside his closet. And the easiest thing to do after waking up was pick up his phone. He tried to change his habit, but he didn't change his environment at all. Most of us make this same mistake. We think a strong person is someone who can always do the right thing through sheer willpower, no matter what situation they're in. But if willpower alone could do everything, no one would ever quit a diet halfway through. No one would ever skip their workout. And no student would ever waste time right before a test. The truth is that people always do what's easiest first. Our mind prefers comfort. It always picks the path that requires the least effort. Think about two roads in front of you. The first road is completely clear, and the second road is filled with rocks. If both roads lead to the same place, which road would you choose? Almost every person would choose the clear road. This is exactly what our mind does every single day. Whatever habit is easiest to reach, it will adopt that one faster. Whatever habit takes more effort to reach, it will start avoiding. This is why the environment quietly controls our habits. Many times we think we made the decision ourselves, when in reality the things around us had already made that decision easy for us. If a bag of chips is sitting on the table, the chances of eating it go up. If a bowl of fruit is sitting right there instead, the chances of eating that go up. The only difference is what was seen first. There was a guy who had a habit of staying on his phone late every night. He told himself many times, "Today I'll sleep early." But the moment he got into bed, his phone would be in his hand. Then one day he made one small change. He moved his phone charger to the other room. Now to charge his phone at night, he had to get up and walk out. The first day it felt strange. The second day he thought, "Forget it, I'll check it in the morning." Within just a few days, his screen time at night had been cut in half. He hadn't increased his willpower. He had simply placed a small obstacle between himself and his bad habit. This obstacle is called friction. Friction means making something slightly harder to do. If reaching a bad habit is easy, you'll do it over and over. If that same habit becomes a little harder, your mind will often drop it on its own. On the other side, the easier a good habit is to do, the more likely you are to start it. Say you want to build a habit of drinking water every morning. If the bottle is in the kitchen and you have to walk there first thing in the morning, you'll forget many times. But if you put the water bottle next to your bed the night before, drinking it first thing when you wake up becomes easy. The water is the same. You're the same. But just by changing the environment, the result changed. There was a girl who needed to practice her drawing every day. but her colors were in a separate box. Her sketchbook was in the closet, and her pencils were in another room. Every time she had to search for everything. So she'd think, I'll start tomorrow. Her mom arranged all the drawing supplies on a small table in advance. Now all she had to do was sit down in the chair. Within the very next week, her practice became regular. Her talent hadn't suddenly grown. Starting had become easier. Now let's talk about junk food. A lot of people say, starting now I won't eat chips and chocolate. But the very next day those same things are still in the house. In the evening, the mood dips a little and the bag is open. Then people blame themselves. But the question is, if that bag wasn't in the house at all, would eating it have been that easy? Many times the best decision is made at the store, not in the kitchen. If you don't buy it and bring it home, you'd have to go out first to get it. That extra effort many times stops you from making the wrong decision. There was a guy who worked in an office and drank soda every single day. He decided he wanted to quit. He removed all the soda from his fridge and replaced it with cold water and lemon. The first few days he craved soda, but every time he opened the fridge and saw water, slowly that became his new default choice. He changed the things around him before changing his taste. Now understand the example of studying. If you have to study in the morning, the night before, open your book and leave it on the desk. Place your pen on the exact page you're going to start from. Set the chair in the right spot. When you wake up in the morning, you won't have to think about anything. The fewer decisions the mind has to make, the faster a good habit begins. You've probably seen that many people pack their gym bag the night before. Shoes, water bottle, towel, all together. Not because they love packing, but because if every item has to be found separately in the morning, the mind quickly finds an excuse. But when everything is ready, walking out the door becomes easy. There was a little kid who always took a long time to do his homework. His dad noticed that the study table had toys, game cards, and other stuff lying on it. He simply cleared the table of all the toys and left only the books. Now when the kid sat at the table, his attention toward playing decreased. He hadn't changed himself. The environment around him had changed. This same rule applies to your phone too. If every time you unlock your phone, social media is right there in front of you, going there becomes easy. But if you move those apps to a second screen or put them in a folder, opening them will take one extra step. That tiny extra step many times stops you from opening your phone on autopilot. On the other side, if a learning app or your notes are on the first screen, you'll start using them more. A shopkeeper always kept candy on his counter. Kids would walk in and spot it immediately. One day he moved the candy away and put a water bottle there instead. He noticed that many people were now buying water without even being asked. Whatever is in front of you is what first comes to mind. So put the habit you want to grow in your line of sight. Put the habit you want to reduce out of sight. Now ask yourself, what's the easiest thing to reach in your room? Your phone charger, your remote, your snacks, or a book? The answer to that question will tell you a lot about your habits. Our environment keeps giving us small signals every day. We follow those signals whether we realize it or not. There was a guy who wanted to learn guitar, but the guitar was always kept inside its case. Take it out, clean it, then sit down. So practice rarely happened. His teacher told him, put the guitar on a stand where you can see it as you walk by. A few days later, he found that now, without even making a plan, he was getting in 5 to 10 minutes of practice. Because starting no longer took any effort. If you want to go for a morning walk, put your shoes by the front door the night before. If you want to eat healthy, put cut fruit at the front of the fridge. If you want to drink more water, always keep a bottle with you. If you want to write, keep a notebook somewhere you'll see every day. The less friction there is in starting a good habit, the faster it becomes part of your life. On the other side, if there's a habit you want to break, add friction to its path. Put the TV remote inside a cabinet. Give the password to someone you trust. Log out of your online shopping apps. If you want to reduce late-night screen time, set a Wi-Fi timer. Every extra step gives your mind one moment to think. Many wrong decisions simply don't happen because doing them becomes slightly harder. Remember, people aren't always weak, but the mind is always looking for the easier path. So don't spend all your strength trying to build more willpower. Spend your energy changing the environment you live in every day. When good habits become easy and bad habits become hard, discipline won't feel like a battle anymore. It will slowly become such a normal part of your daily life that you won't have to fight yourself again and again just to do the right thing. Lesson 4. Invest in your daily ergonomics. Chris got his first paycheck and the very first thing he bought was a new smartphone. Then a few months later, some expensive sneakers came. Then a smartwatch too. He felt like his life had become better than before. But there was one problem that kept growing every day. By evening, his back would start aching. His neck would feel heavy. He didn't feel like sitting down to work on his laptop. By the time he lay down in bed at night, it felt like his whole body had given out. He couldn't understand where his energy was disappearing so fast. He thought maybe he was just working too much. But the real reason wasn't the work. The real reason was the place where he sat for hours every day and where he slept at night. We tend to spend money on things other people can see. A new phone, nice clothes, a stylish bag, or expensive earbuds. But the two things we spend the most time with in our lives are the ones we pay the least attention to. The first is our chair, and the second is our mattress. If someone works 8 hours and sleeps 8 hours, think about it. Out of 24 hours in a day, they're spending 16 hours with just these two things. And yet, when buying them, we compromise the most on exactly these. Imagine a farmer who has very high-quality seeds. But he plants them in land where the soil is poor and water doesn't reach properly. Will a great harvest come just because the seeds are good? Probably not. Because the place where the seeds are growing isn't right. The exact same thing applies to our bodies. No matter how smart your mind is, if the body is in pain all the time, focus won't be able to hold for long. There was a guy taking online classes. His house didn't have a proper study desk. So every day he'd sit on his bed with his laptop. In the beginning, everything seemed fine. But a few months later, his neck started hurting constantly. He thought maybe it was a lack of exercise. The doctor asked him just one question: how many hours do you sit like this each day? When he said around 6 to 7 hours, the doctor explained that the problem isn't just the workload, it's also the way you're sitting. He got a simple table and a chair with back support. A few weeks later, he noticed that even without any medication, the pain had decreased a lot. Our body is not a machine that can keep working in any position for hours. If you bend a tree branch a little every day, after some time its shape starts to change. The body is the same way. If every day you look at your phone with your neck bent forward or sit with your back hunched, slowly that position starts to feel normal. Then the pain begins and we think maybe it's just because we're getting older, when many times the reason is just bad posture. Now think about another situation. You've probably taken a really long road trip. If the seat is comfortable, even after many hours you feel okay. But if the seat is broken or has no back support, your body starts giving up within just 2 hours. The distance was the same. The time was the same. The only difference was the seat. That same difference happens in your home or office every single day. A lot of people say, "I'm young. Why should I worry about pain now?" But the body doesn't send signals all at once. It gives small hints first. Sometimes the neck feels heavy, sometimes the shoulders tighten, sometimes there's a mild ache in the lower back. If these signals are ignored for a long time, that small problem becomes a big one. So the smart move is not to wait for the pain to get worse. There was a girl who did graphic design work. She sat in front of her laptop all day. By evening, her eyes and her back were both exhausted. She didn't change her software. She didn't change her laptop. And she didn't reduce her workload either. She only changed her chair. A chair that gave her back full support. She also adjusted the height of her screen so she didn't have to keep tilting her neck downward. A few days later, she realized that where she used to need a break after 4 hours, she was now working more comfortably for longer. Her focus increased because her body wasn't as bothered as before. Now let's talk about the mattress. Many people think sleep just means closing your eyes. But good sleep doesn't just come from the hours you put in. The place where you sleep plays just as big a role. If the mattress is too worn down or doesn't give your body the right support, your body can't truly rest through the night. Your eyes open in the morning, but the tiredness doesn't go away. Then the whole day feels like low energy. There was a laborer who worked hard all day. He thought that with this much physical work, sleep would automatically come easy. But he woke up every morning with a beaten-up body. A knowledgeable person in his town told him, "That old mattress you've been sleeping on for years. Try changing it." At first he thought, what difference would that make? But after getting a new mattress, within just a few days he noticed that when he woke up in the morning, his body didn't feel as heavy as before. The work was the same, but the recovery had improved. Think about it. If your phone's battery doesn't charge properly overnight, what happens the next day? You keep looking for a charger. Our body is a lot like that. The night's sleep is its charging time. If the charging doesn't happen properly, performance will be lower all day. So a mattress isn't just a thing you sleep on. It's preparing the energy for the next day. Many students start studying in bed, and slowly that becomes their study place. After a while, sleep starts coming and studying stops. This happens because the mind associates the bed with rest. If studying always happens in a proper chair and at a proper desk, the mind understands that it's time to work now. The environment doesn't just change habits. It changes the body's feeling too. Now do a small experiment. One day sit completely hunched over with no support for a full half hour. Then the next day sit with your back straight for a half hour. Feel for yourself which day breathing felt easier and which day your body felt less tired. Many times the difference is so obvious that no explanation is needed. There was a tailor who sewed all day. Before, he sat on a small stool. By evening, his back would ache. Later, he got a chair that supported his lower back and was at the right height. He found he could now work for much longer without pain. His income also went up because he no longer had to stop working repeatedly due to discomfort. He hadn't just bought a chair. He had bought the ability to keep doing his work. We often try to increase productivity by downloading new apps, learning new techniques, or watching time management videos. But if your body is constantly sending a signal that it's in pain, how long will the mind be able to concentrate? Pain always demands attention. So ignoring the basic needs of the body you're relying on to achieve your goals isn't smart. This doesn't mean everyone needs to buy the most expensive chair or the most expensive mattress. What matters is that whatever you get, it gives your body the right support. The chair should be one where your back can stay straight, your feet can rest comfortably on the floor, and you don't have to keep tilting your neck down to look at the screen. The mattress should be one that gives your body support when you lie on it, not just a soft feel. If buying new furniture isn't possible right now, some small changes can still be made. A small cushion on your chair can support your back. Putting your laptop on top of books can raise the screen height. You can get up and walk for 2 minutes every so often. You can use a pillow while sleeping that keeps your neck aligned. Small changes also make a big difference over time. There was a man who had the most expensive television in his whole house. But the chair he sat in to watch it was years old and broken. Every evening his back would ache. Finally, he didn't change the television. He changed the chair. That's when he understood that comfort doesn't come from the things you look at, it comes from the things you actually use. This same truth applies to our daily life. Whenever you're thinking about spending money on something, ask yourself one question: how many hours a day will I be using this? If the answer is 8 hours or more, quality matters the most there. A good chair and a good mattress don't just give you comfort. They protect your body. They preserve your energy. And they keep you capable of working without pain for the long haul. This is why this isn't an expense. It's an investment whose benefit you receive every single day, from the moment you wake up in the morning to the time you go to sleep at night. Lesson 5. Create a default template for saying no. Tom had one habit. Whenever anyone asked him for something, he'd immediately say yes without thinking. Friends said, "Let's go out." Yes. Someone at work dumped their task onto him. Yes. A relative said, "Find a little time and take care of this." Still yes. In those moments, he felt like he was being a good person. But a few days later, that same Tom was staying up late at night finishing his own work. His own goals were falling behind. He was always busy. Yet his own important tasks weren't getting done. He thought he just didn't have enough time. When the truth was that his time hadn't run out, he had given it all away without thinking. Most of us learn from childhood that you should help others. That's completely true. But at a certain point, there's a difference between helping and saying yes to everything. If a person keeps setting aside their own needs and only fulfilling everyone else's, one day their own dreams will be left behind. So being a good person doesn't mean accepting every single request that comes your way. Think about it. You have a bucket of water and that same water has to last you all day. If every person who comes in the morning gets a little bit of your water, by evening nothing will be left for your own house. You can't blame anyone else because the water was yours and the decision was yours too. Time is exactly like that. Every morning you get 24 hours. The question isn't how much time there is. The question is, who are you giving it to? There was a college student who was good at studying. So his friends would ask him for help on every single project. At first it felt good that people trusted him. But slowly the situation became such that he was stuck finishing other people's assignments while his own review was left incomplete. At exam time, he understood for the first time that in trying to keep everyone else happy, he had actually hurt himself. Why does all this happen? Because we're afraid to say no directly. We think the other person will get upset. People will think we're selfish. Our image will get ruined. So we say yes in that moment. But later that same decision bothers us. Many times we even get frustrated with ourselves for saying yes without thinking. Now, understand one small thing. When someone suddenly asks you to do something, they're not just asking for your time. They're asking for a chunk of your upcoming hours. If you say yes right then without thinking, you've already given away your future time. Later, when your own important task shows up, you have nothing left to give. Take the example of a doctor's office. If a doctor said yes to every walk-in patient without checking the schedule, the entire day would be chaos. That's why every professional checks their schedule first. It doesn't mean they don't want to help people. It just means they know their own capacity. Now, understand one more thing. Saying no isn't always rejecting a person. Many times you're only saying no to the task, not to the person. Understanding this difference is very important. If your friend is asking for help today and you're genuinely busy, saying no clearly and kindly is far better than making a promise you can't keep. There was a guy who used to go to his relative's place every weekend to help with small tasks. He thought if he said no, what would people think? But his own skill courses started getting missed. One day he decided that whenever any request came, he'd check his plan first. He accepted some things and said no to others. The surprising thing was that most people weren't upset at all. They just wanted a clear answer. Many times we make the other person's reaction much bigger in our head than it actually is. We think if I say no, the relationship will be ruined. But in reality, smart people understand that everyone has their own schedule. The people who always expect you to be available at any time don't respect the value of your time. If you take your own goals seriously, you have to take your own calendar seriously too. A calendar isn't just for writing meetings. Your study time, family time, rest time, and practice time should be just as important in it. When you know in advance what your time is already reserved for, handling extra requests becomes much easier. There was a writer who wrote every morning for 2 hours. He had already told his family, "During this time, I won't be available for anything else." At first, everyone found it a little strange. But after a few days, everyone started respecting that time. If he hadn't shown that his own time had value, probably no one else would have either. Now do one small practice. From today, decide that whenever any sudden request comes, you won't give an immediate answer. The first thing to say is, "Let me check my schedule and get back to you in a little bit." Then ask yourself 3 questions. Is this task necessary for my goals? Do I truly have time for this? If I do this, which important task of mine will fall behind? After these questions, whatever answer comes, that will be the right decision. Slowly you'll start noticing that there's more time left in your day than before. Not because the days have gotten longer, but because your time is no longer going to someone else without you even thinking about it. You'll choose the tasks that truly add value to your life. Remember, every person in the world gets 24 hours. The only difference is that some people leave the door to their time open for everyone, while others look first and then decide who gets to come in. Your time is the most precious thing you have. Money can be earned back, but 1 hour that has already passed never comes back. So giving yourself a moment to think before every yes is not a bad habit. This habit teaches you to protect your time without any fighting, without any guilt, and without any excuses. When you start understanding the value of your own time, other people will also stop treating it lightly. Conclusion. The 5 ideas we talked about today may seem very small on the surface, but their effect reaches your entire life. People often look for some big secret, an expensive course, or a new technique to find success, when the truth is that the small daily decisions in our lives are what build our future. What kind of information are you feeding your mind? Do you ever sit with yourself without any screen? Is your environment making good habits easy or hard? The chair and mattress your body spends hours on every day, are they giving you energy or slowly draining it? And most importantly, do you know how to protect your time? These 5 things can slowly shift your entire direction. Remember, life doesn't change in a single day, but one right habit does always begin with a single day. If you apply even one of these ideas in your life today, after a few weeks you'll start feeling a difference within yourself. Your mind will be calmer than before. Your focus will be better.